Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And today, as we work our way backwards through the alphabet, we're still in the SCHs. This is like the biggest pain in the neck because for some reason SCH is hard to alphabetize. Once you get past like 3 letters, SCH, well, now we're in the SCHNs, Schnittke. Then there's the SCHMs, and then there are the vowels, and somehow they get all mixed up. And I'm trying to pull them out and re-alphabetize them as I go, because I've made some really dumb mistakes putting these things in the Overflow room originally. And once you make a mistake, it might as well not exist, because you'll never find it again. Anyway, right now we're on Schnittke, and we have a good pile of Schnittke, most of which is on Bis. The Bis Schnittke Edition, which was an ongoing thing. I don't know if they did his complete orchestral music or anything else, frankly. It was a big edition. They did a lot of stuff. They did do the complete symphonies, which are upstairs, along with piles of other Schnittke. I actually have a lot of Schnittke. It's a great name, Schnittke. There we go. But let's see what's in this little pile. Oh, look. It's this famous Deutsche Grammophon recording featuring Concerto Grosso No. 1, Quasi una Sonata, Mozart a la Haydn, and Paganini. I mean, this is a fabulous display of his pastiche style, mixing up bits of things by various composers and whatnot. And it's quite wonderful with Gideon Kramer and the Chamber Orchestra of Europe and Heinrich Schiff conducting. Pretty cool, yeah. So that's nifty. And then we have film music. He did a lot of film music. He was a very good film music composer. And there's I think it's 4-disc set or so of his film music on Capriccio, which I've talked about. We've talked about that already. And here we have My Past and Thoughts and the incredibly cheerful movie Agony, which is really well suited to Schnittke, you'll have to admit. The End of St. Petersburg, and a film of The Master and Margarita. The incredible novel by Bulgakov. Oh my goodness, what an amazing novel that is. One of the great masterpieces of 20th century literature. And here is 13 minutes, which can't possibly encompass the whole thing, which is completely nuts and phantasmagorical. But this is with the Berlin Radio Symphony Orchestra under Frank Strobel. And it's very evocative. There's some fun music in there. So it's CPO. And now we have the Bis edition. You ready? This is my all-time favorite Schnittke disc. This is the one. I've talked about it before. I have hundreds of copies of it sitting around. You should always have it, especially to play for your neighbors. First, Ritual for Large Orchestra, Kein Midsommernachtstraum, which is a wonderful faux sort of classical Baroque tune, which gets subjected to all kinds of appalling variations. It's just amazing. Then his Passacaglia for large orchestra, and finally, Seid nüchtern und wachet, his Faust cantata. This is in the shape of a Bach cantata, but it tells a Faust story, not the Faust story, because in this Faust story he gets killed quite gruesomely. And there is an amazing aria for alto and choir, Es geschah, with a tango, do 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 da da, whoop da 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 da, as Faust is having his face ripped apart and his guts torn out, and oh my God, it's grisly, and the music is just beyond creepy and weird. And when I used to work at HMV, when they were setting up their classical department in New York, we used to play this at midnight when it was time for everybody to leave. It cleared the room out. Turn it up loud enough. Oh my God, it's terrifying and just fabulously catchy at the same time. An amazing piece of music which reveals Schnittke as a real composer of genius, quite frankly. And you've got the mezzo who sings this aria. Inger Blom is her name. And wow, ooh, boy, is she scary. What a voice. This is just a sensational disc. It's with the Malmo Symphony Orchestra and James DePriest. And it was just phenomenal. And if you haven't heard the Schnittke Faust cantata, you owe it to yourself. You really do. especially on Halloween. Schnittke Cello Concerto Number 1 with Torleif Tedin and Leif Segerstam and the Danish National Radio Symphony. Klingende Buchstaben for solo cello, and the 4 hymns for cello and instrumental ensemble. So these are all fun. It's all like cello music. And then we've got this one. Let's see, the piano quintet, the canon in memoriam Igor Stravinsky, the piano quartet, and the string trio. With who's playing? Oh, all kinds of people here. Roland Pöntinen and Talle Olsen and Patrick Swedrup and Ingegerd Kierkegaard, people you've never heard of. Helena Nielsen, it doesn't matter, they're very good. So some chamber music, so that's fun. Most of the symphonies are in the symphony box. Like I said, it's upstairs. This is all the concertos and like other things for the most part. What's this one? The string quartets, 1, 2, and 3. There you go, with the Talle Quartet. And we have his ballet, Peer Gynt. Yes, freely based on Ibsen's play. And it's got like all kinds of weird stuff going on in it. Believe me, it's very strange and hallucinatory, and it's over 2 hours long. 126 minutes and 48 seconds of juicy music with Erik Klaas and the orchestra of the Royal Opera House, the Royal Opera Stockholm. I think it's kind of funny, you know. I mean, this was a big deal when a lot of these things came out, and Schnittke was still alive, of course, for most of that period. And now, his like most composers, when they pass on, their music suffers an eclipse. And Schnittke's not an easy composer, even when he's not eclipsing. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Then we've got Concerto Grosso Number 3, the Sonata for Violin with Chamber Orchestra, and his Trio Sonata arranged for string orchestra by Yuri Bashmet with the Stockholm Chamber Orchestra under Lev Marquez. He's very good. These are very good performances. I mean, really, the whole series was really tremendous, actually. Concerto Number 3 for violin and chamber orchestra. Concerto Number 4 for violin and regular orchestra with Ola Krisa violin, the Malmö Symphony Orchestra under Erik Klaas. Yes. What's this? First violin concerto. Okay, that's a big one, 37 minutes. And Number 2 for violin and chamber orchestra with Mark Lubotsky and the Malmö Symphony Orchestra and Erik Klaas. 2 more to go, folks. Concerto Grosso Number 1. Okay, we already talked about that. It's one of his most popular pieces. It's lots of fun. And the Concerto for Oboe, Harp, and Strings. And the Piano and String Orchestra Concerto with the new Stockholm Chamber Orchestra under Lev Marquez with a variety of very, very capable soloists. And finally, In Memoriam. 27 minutes of In Memoriam. Part of the Memoriam is a tempo di valse, so there's a waltz memoriam, and the viola concerto with Nobuko Imai and Lev Marquez and the Malmö Symphony Orchestra. So that, my friends, is a lot of Bis Schnittke, and there's tons more upstairs and all over the place. I mean, you know, he really had a remarkable run, and fortunately, all of this stuff got recorded, and there are fine recordings of all of his music. So if his stars should begin to rise again, there's plenty of documentary evidence as to what a fine and interesting composer he was. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.